Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here in the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for June 8th, 2023, with your host, Peacebreaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hello.
We start a new show. Hooray! You don't sound very excited for this.
I'm still kind of indifferent on this, not to mention I'm also trying to figure out what the heck is going on here.
Oh no. What happened?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to change out it. I think where I've got other stuff followed, it's overloading how many times the stuff can be called. Because apparently all of the methods can only be called 300 times within 5 minutes. So apparently by it grabbing lists and stuff too, it's throwing it too far. That kind of makes sense.
Well, at least we get to start your new Ultraman show. That's short.
I also feel like I'm probably going to watch the sub more than the dub.
Fair. I
almost wonder if it's because of how much Rider we've done. But it kind of felt odd to watch this dubbed.
I know for me,
that's kind of weird to be like that, but it felt odd kind of deal.
Yeah, I know for me, it's because I'm used to the Japanese actors and voice actors' voices. I'm just used to how they sound. So it sounds wrong when I'm hearing a completely different voice.
And see, I didn't even have that because I watched the dub first. The first 2 episodes I watched on the dub. The second 2 I did the sub because I was wanting to see which one I felt better with, and yeah, sub.
Yeah, and then also it's a weird thing, but the lip sync it sometimes gets to me.
Yeah,
like it's impossible to handle that for a live action show. Like there is no properly lip syncing anybody. Unless their mouth does not move. But it just like it just irks me ever so slightly. I'm just like, that's not what you said. I know that's not what you said.
I feel like the dub for me just kind of almost made me lose interest in it more because of the simple fact of it almost felt too Power Rangers-y. How you can tell that that's clearly not the sentiment that's there, even though that's the words coming out. And it was like, I know that wasn't full on the case there, but I couldn't shake that this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I think for the most part they do well. It's just sometimes some characters' tones, I'm just like, that doesn't quite line up, but it's close enough that I'm okay with it. It's one of those cases of, this works for people who have not watched the show subbed and want to watch it dubbed or have to watch it dubbed. It is good enough for that purpose.
Yeah.
And that is all I care about at the end of the day.
And in all seriousness, if it wasn't such a pain to change it on the site, I probably would have it set up to where both were linked.
Right.
Having to pick one, I almost would have picked the sub over the dub, to be fair. As far as what I would have picked up. But I also get that point of people don't really handle subs too easy.
I know it's way too late for them to do it, but for Blazer and for a couple of the other like special stuff they've done, they've done dual audio tracks on the YouTube video, so you actually can select either Japanese or English audio along with appropriate subtitles, because it's not just English subtitles, it's like multiple language subtitles that Tsuburaya does. I wish they could have gone back and did that for Zed, but the dub came like 2-3 years after the fact, or 3 years after the fact. So it's like, these have to be fresh uploads, I guess.
I mean, they probably could have worked around that part of it.
Yeah. Also, I know the internal commercials for the episodes are different.
Yeah.
Because they are advertising very different things because of when they were released.
Yeah, I kind of caught that, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for those following along with the link that is on the site, it is not the official playlist because of that one little flub there. I went through and made a delisted playlist, and that is what's linked. That way it is in full order and you don't have to try to skip at the end. If anyone wants one for the sub, because of the fact of, someone within their group decided to have them sort the playlist by by newest to oldest instead of oldest to newest on release stuff. It's kind of completely backwards. So I redid that playlist too, but if anyone wants that one, yeah, just hit me up Discord something, I'll shoot the link.
But yeah, it is Ultraman Z, folks. I was about to say the first Reira era Ultraman show, but that's wrong. That's the second Reira era Ultraman show after Taiga. But Ultraman doesn't go off like the era stuff that we know from Rider. Because they do initially, because they have a Showa era and a Heisei era. And the Showa era are pretty much all the Ultras that are red in their bodysuit. Is like the simplest way to put it. And then the Heisei era is mostly the ones that aren't that. But then, because if I'm trying to remember this correctly, because Mebius was the last TV show of the Heisei era, I believe. And then I believe Ultra 7X, I think might have been on. Yeah, Ultra 7X was also on TV, but it was also like one of the last two alongside Mebius. Then Zero, who we meet in this show, has his movies and stuff because he's actually a movie-only Ultra. He doesn't have a TV show. He comes from a movie that does not have his name on it, and he's only in like the second half of it because of plot reasons. Because it's not his movie. It's a movie for a separate show. Then he has like a follow-up movie and then a couple other specials and stuff that are to him. And then for the rest of time, he has just cameoed in other shows, much like this. And I will tell you, Zero is one of the most popular Ultras in the franchise. But after all that, then you get to what's called the new generation era of Ultraman, which starts with Ginga and runs all the way through here with Zed, and then I guess through the next two shows, which are Trigger and Decker, because Blazer may not be a new generation Ultra. It might be the start of a new era based off like producer talks and director talks. They're wanting the Ultra shows to be a lot more standalone now and not have like cameos and stuff from previous Ultras. And there's talk of from them new era starting with Blazer. So Make of that what you will, I guess. So we are in the new gen era of Ultras, which is the era I'm familiar with because I've seen a lot of material for this. So that essentially says of my experience with Ultraman. Tavi, you have no experience with Ultraman, correct?
Correct.
So this is your first show.
Yep.
Don't feel bad if you're feeling different. It's better than when I first tried to get into Ultraman, because I tried to get in with Ginga. And if you want to see a show that has literally showing it has like no budget, that's Ginga. It's, I think, a cast of 6 characters and 1 building. And that is it. It feels empty because the budget doesn't exist. But some quick stats. June 20th, 2020 was when the show premiered on YouTube for us stateside, because this is officially released for free on Super Aya's YouTube channel. And kind of, I feel like, was the big kickoff of Super Aya, like bringing Ultraman to the West, because I feel like it was after this that all the DVDs and Blu-rays of the Ultraman franchise came over via Mill Creek, and now practically the entire franchise is available either for free through like the Tokusatsu network of streaming services, or on physical media via Mill Creek with their various Blu-ray releases and DVD releases. Unfortunately, Zed has no physical media release right now, but the thought is that the current contract to bring over all of the media and stuff in terms of the physical releases ended 1 show before Zed with Taiga. Like, that was the contract, because that was when the contract was made, was Taiga was the currently airing show and it was unavailable, and then the rest of the beyond him didn't exist. So it was everything before then. So the thought is that a new contract will get talked about maybe in the next year or so. We'll get Taiga. We will get a Zed release on Blu-ray with both an English or Japanese and English audio, is the thought. Which is why we haven't heard about anything till now. That is the thought, is that a Blu-ray release of Zed will have both audio tracks. And that's why we just haven't heard anything. Whether or not that turns out to be the case, who knows? But writer and director-wise, the main writer is Kota Fukihara, who unfortunately passed away during production of Zed. But Zed's production is far in advance of its airing, so it was late into production when he passed away. The show is... they do a quick honor for him at the end of the show. And the main director is Kiyotaka Taguchi, along with a rotation of directors. Our old friend Sakamoto will pop up for like a couple episodes, if I recall correctly. I don't remember if it's any more than that. But it's like a rotation of directors and a rotation of writers, but these 2 are the main people behind the show. But any thoughts going into the episodes for Zed?
No. No, I was kind of just... I'm kind of just along for the ride on this one. There's not too much that I feel like we could do that I would just completely be at the no phase kind of deal.
I'm sure I could find something.
Oh, I know there's stuff out there, but at this point, yeah, I'm just kind of like, okay.
Also, this
Black did not help out at all.
Oh God, no. Yeah, I think the caveat would be I would have to somehow desire to like do it, and there's things I know I do not desire to do. Like, I there's like I can't talk you, let alone myself, into doing an entire run of the Donkey Kong Country show. As funny as that would be, no. I am not dragging myself through that entire show. Because I don't even know how many episodes it is. And now I'm looking. 26 plus 14. 40 episodes. That is not as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was more. I thought it was something like 60. Because I know there are some shows that I'm like, how the fuck is it this long? There's no way this show is this long. But anyway, shall we get into the episodes then?
I guess we shall.
All right, we start with episode 1, Chant My Name. We start mid-attack by a monster rampaging through the city. It is Godzilla's cousin, Gomez. And guess what? There's lore reasons why I say he's Godzilla's cousin, because the original Gomez suit used in the original Ultraman show is actually a Godzilla suit that Toho gave to Super Raya. So this is Godzilla's cousin.
That's actually kind of funny.
Yep. They actually homage they homage this in Shin Ultraman because they used the Shin Godzilla 3D model to make Shin Gomez in that movie for the opening. So every time you look at Gomez, folks, and think he looks a whole lot like Godzilla, that's because he is. He's related. But then we see the one of the robots we'll see throughout the show that is from storage. Scavenger, our honking child that tries really hard, but is unfortunately going to be jobbing out a whole lot, which is probably my one complaint about the show. Oh, I hope you don't get too invested in the robots because they kind of have to job out every now and again.
I kind of figured that was what was going to happen there.
Especially if Haruki's in the pilot seat, because I'm just like, oh god, Haruki's piloting. That means he's got to lose in order to like go tag with Zen and take him off. That's why I'm just like, why is Haruki a pilot? He doesn't need to be a pilot because every time he gets in the robot, he has to lose in order to go be Zed. But he has to be a pilot because that's an important job, and the hero has to have an important job.
I mean, does he? Does he really?
I'm trying to think of. I honestly don't know the jobs of the people who fuse with the Ultras and/or are the Ultras, or because I feel like half the time it's something important if they are a part of the defense team, which just makes me go, how the fuck does no one know you are Ultraman? Because they lose contact with you as soon as you transform.
Right?
But our female pilot, Yoko Nakashimi, is the one piloting Scavenger this time. Haruki Natsukawa, our main hero, is on the ground evacuating people until he spots a dog and has to help it and then get caught in the fight. We also meet Yuka Oda, who is our lead scientist, and the captain of the main storage team, Shoto Hibikura. Also, as a note, Scavenger's got a 3-minute time limit. I'll be honest, I don't know how much they break that 3-minute time limit. Because Zed's also supposed to have a 3-minute time limit. And some part of me feels like they break that very often.
I mean, probably.
It's about like the what is it? Haruto's like mana limit in Wizard.
Yeah.
It's implied to be there, but there is no hard rule.
Also, did you intend to do what you just did there? Because I see what you did there.
No, probably not.
Okay. I'll let you keep rolling.
Okay. So Haruki gets caught in the middle of the fight. Scavenger does kill Gomez by backhanding the thing into a building. Unfortunately, this causes Scavenger to lose balance and then fall into the same building as well, completely destroying it and causing a lot of property damage, which they get chewed out by their boss, Sabaru Kurihama, later about. Oops. If you haven't noticed, this is a team that tries really hard to do their job, but are clearly out of their depth at times.
I mean, fair. Now, here's the real question. Did you take note of a fun little fact about their boss?
I don't think I did.
Since you didn't, did you recognize him? Because you should.
Wait, is that the boss from Wizard?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
That's why I thought you did that intentionally.
No! Oh my god, I didn't recognize him.
I recognized him and I was like, I know you from somewhere. Where? And then when I was watching today, I'm like, okay, now it's bothering me. I've got to figure this out. And I'm like, I looked it up, Wizard. I'm like, yeah. Duh.
I honestly did not recognize him. I think it's been an eternity since I've watched Wizard. And by an eternity, I mean it's literally been when we did it on air. Because that was the last time I've watched anything of Wizard. Yeah, it's been that long, which means it's been that long since it aired.
You know, now I want to find out how far back that was because, oh geez,
It was late into Wizard's run.
Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah, because you were wrapping it up while we were catching up.
Mm-hmm. Like 2000. It probably was around 2013.
So pretty much when it aired.
Yeah, because I remember you asked me, it's like, how many episodes does it have? And I'm like, I don't know. They just announced this fucking Heisei Rider special they're doing at the end of the show, so I honestly have no idea.
Which turns out that really had no bearing on it, but
Oh, that Heisei Rider special that decided to make everyone believe that Godai's final form is fucking melted cheese ultimate, and I hate that with a burning passion of 1,000 suns, because I hate that fucking form with burning passion of 1,000 suns. That form sucks. It is the worst. I will not hear otherwise. Anyway, after the boss chooses him out and stuff, and Hibikura tells Haruki, he's like, you did a good job, but do try to do better at it and not get yourself almost killed, please. But that's when we catch in with two of our Ultraman, Zed, who is our main lead and the younger of the two, and then Zero, who is voiced by Goku in the dub.
and for those wondering why he said that, it is actually voiced by Goku.
Yep. And he is doing Goku's voice. And honestly, it works. Like, Zero is like this cocky, older Ultraman who does back up his shit. But the two of them are fighting the monster Gengarg. Zed claims to be Zero's apprentice, and Zero's like, no, you fucking aren't. You decided that on your own. I did not agree to this. I did not agree to take on anybody. Which they never really get into it, but I assume it's for character reasons that gets into Zero's backstory and stuff, which we won't get into here because Ultraman has lore. And it has like deep lore. And that just is more than necessary. Because the thing I had in my hands. The main thing I really wanted to see is how much you kind of can understand the show and stuff without having any idea of what any of these other people are that are coming from other shows are.
I mean, I'm pretty much just treating it as we're really kind of just having, like how the Legend Rider stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of just how I'm treating all of that.
Fair.
It kind of helps that, you know, at least having a basis of understanding about stuff like that. So it's one of those I can look at it and be like, oh, this is like tribute stuff. Cool.
I feel like that's we might strain that, especially next week, because I'm just like, oh, that's one of the episodes next week. Oh, but that's the other half of the episodes next week. Oh, I thought that was later in the show. Apparently not. Oops. So we're gonna get into a lot of things in 2 weeks. But anyway, Zero gets sucked into a wormhole because the monster swallowed a wormhole and then spat it out at Zero, and he gets sucked in. So he passes the Ultra Zed Riser and 3 Ultra Metals to Zed, and then gets sucked into the wormhole until he can break out of it in like a few episodes. Just gonna throw that out there. He's gonna come back.
Makes sense.
But Zed takes these and heads to Earth. Meanwhile, Haruki's on cleanup with Avenger when Gengaruga arrives. Zed also arrives and fights it. Haruki's told to don't get involved until Haruki's like, but monster fight, and the other one seems to be helping us. And his boss is like, fine, go fight him. Don't cause more property damage, please. So the two of them team up and fight. We get a fun little joke about them both being on a 3-limit timer. But as they're fighting, the monster starts moving towards a school that is marked as an evac zone. And Zed and Haruki have to throw themselves in front of it to take a blast to stop it from destroying it, only to immediately get killed. So they are both dead. For those wondering if this reminds you of Ghost, don't be. This is very common in Ultraman sometimes. It is not uncommon for the person that's going to host the Ultraman to take a death to then for the Ultraman to fuse with them so that they can stick around the entire show. That happens a lot. The only time it doesn't happen is when the person and the Ultra are the same being. Because that also happens. Ultraman's weird and complicated like that. Sometimes they're separate characters. Sometimes they're the same person. Sometimes, even though they're separate characters, they don't really talk to each other, but sometimes they do. Ultraman's weird. But it embraces its weird. But because they have fused, Haruki can team up with Zed and use the Zed Riser to become Ultraman Zed Alpha Edge, which is Zed's like proper main form besides his not fusion form. So welcome also to Ultraman's thing of, you know how we have the formatting of forms and stuff in Rider? Toss that out the window. That doesn't exist here. Like, the concept of final forms gets real murky with Ultraman, especially because all the movies are canon. And often Ultras get new forms in those movies. So, yeah. I do like that Zed talks Haruki through the transformation and stuff. Gets to the end, and then has to be like, push the button. You gotta push the
Yeah,
button.
I
You gotta-
like that.
You will soon find out that these two share a brain cell because they both had half of one before meeting. But as Alpha Edge, they take on Gengar, make quick work of them. And after killing it, that unfortunately spreads out the Ultra Metals. So now Haruki has to go hunt Ultra Metals for like the rest of the show. Thankfully, he gets 2 of them since they were nearby. And then Yoko picks up a 3rd one and doesn't tell Haruki about it. So she can hold on to it for like a couple episodes. Then we see one of Storage's cleanup personnel, Kaburagi, get attacked by some parasite monster, and he gets possessed, and now he has a Z-Riser, and an object we will learn about later in hand. It is called the Devil Splinter. It's a plot device that doesn't matter too much in the long run. Don't worry about it. But that is episode 1, which takes us to episode 2, A Warrior's Principle. We find out that because of the recent monster attacks, several monsters that are hibernating on the planet that they're aware of are starting to try to become active. So that's a bad thing. We're probably going to have to worry about them eventually. Also, Haruki told the team Zed's name because he heard it somewhere, and no one is suspicious about that.
At all.
But at this point, we also find out that there's a fancy electric plant that's supposed to have a bunch of clean energy and stuff that's moving to its testing phase. That's going to be plot important for the end of the episode. And then we find out about Yoko having a thing for older men because some guy asked her out on a date and she's like, you gotta arm wrestle me for it. And then arm wrestled for him, beat him, and was like, nope, bye. I feel like this is all just a set of a joke of Yoko having a thing for Zed because he's 5,000 years old. Because Haruki's going to tell her that at the end of the episode. And she's like, oh, the oldest of old men. Yay. It's very weird. But another monster pops up. Haruki's in Avenger and deploys. This is Naronga. He's an electric monster that can be invisible, and he beats Avenger easily because he just drains Avenger's battery. Our poor Hong child is just gonna get the run of it for the whole show, and I feel sad because this Avenger doesn't deserve this. Also, Haruki tries to call Zed to fuse, and Zed doesn't answer because, as we find out, they have to be in sync in order for it to work. That's not going to matter until later in the show, actually. Which might surprise you that they're actually going to bring this up again. Because I'll be honest, I didn't think they would. But later, Zed talks to Haruki, gives the backstory of, I'm here because there are these devil splinters that are getting tossed into monsters all over the place, and it's causing bad stuff. And I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen here. Also, your little fanny pack that you think is conspicuous, it's not conspicuous because nobody can see it. So you should be fine. Unless somebody, I guess, touches it. I'm actually... now that I saw it, I'm surprised Yoko doesn't touch it when she's patting him down like twice. But from there, we see Hibikura train Haruki, telling him, trust your senses, don't look, feel for it. And that plays into the fight later. Yuka makes a missile thing that will stop Narunga's from using his electric attacks, but they got to shoot it in his horn. I don't think they used it at all. Like, they used the tracker, but they didn't use this thing. But Yoko's and
I don't
Avenger fighting.
remember, actually.
I'm pretty sure they don't. I think they just used a tracker. And then Haruki beat up the monster in Zed. And that was it. But they managed to get Avenger, or Yoko's able to fight the monster for a little bit as Avenger, but then it kind of takes out Avenger. So Haruki and Zed have to step in. They fight the monster, beat it up. We call it a day. Also, Yoko, like I said, has a thing for Zed now. And we are halfway through. How are you feeling halfway through the episodes?
Well, same as how this was the ones that I watched with the dub. That kind of was uber getting the Power Rangers Sentai vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that kind of made me not really tune out as much as not be as invested in it kind of deal.
Yeah.
I feel like it worked better with the back half kind of deal. And I don't know necessarily if that's just the way my brain was processing the episodes.
Well, I think it doesn't help that the second episode isn't doing a whole lot. Unfortunately.
That coupled with the fact that the first one felt like it was trying to be too jokey.
Mm-hmm.
And not really, setting the stakes of our main character has died concept.
Yeah.
It kind of was it kind of felt like a laugh it off and keep going episode, and I'm like, okay. That's how we're doing.
Yeah, because 1 gives us the introduction to most of our cast and stuff. 3 sets up the events of 4, so they are tied together and stuff. 2's kind of the outlier because it's like, yeah, it's here and we get a backstory with Zed and stuff, but it's backstory we'll soon find out is kind of irrelevant for 90% of the show. But shall we hit the back half then?
I guess we shall.
All right, episode 3, live coverage, the monster transport operation. So we find out that Storage has a second robot in development, but it is on the shelf because they are out of budget and need more money. Kojiro Inaba is the head of the mechanics team and stuff. But he has given Avenger a new weapon. It is a rocket punch. Which, fair. And it seems quite effective, so now Avenger can actually do something. Hooray! Because it kills a monster! Except it also destroyed an observatory while killing the monster that Haruki was told to not break, and oops. As I said, our team tries really hard, but sometimes they're bad at their job. At least at the trying to keep property damage to a minimum. But Saburo shows up and is once more not happy, especially because a funding meeting is going to happen the next day, and he needs a reason to get them more money, and this is not a good reason to get them more money. So they're going to use a mission to escort the stone kind of inactive body of Gomora to an uninhabited island so they don't have to worry about it, destroying things and stuff. Unfortunately, Yoko's the one at the meeting. Haruki has to be the one that pilots Avenger because they're the only 2 pilots on the payroll. Where are the rest of the pilots in this organization? 'Cause I feel like they need another pilot. Just so Haruki can slip off and do Ultraman stuff without having to job a robot out to do so.
Fair.
But unfortunately for Haruki, there's pollen in the air, so he's got the bit of the sniffles and stuff. But thankfully, the mission is going well, and everything's fine. And there's only like a 0.1% chance of Gomora waking up. Unfortunately, that 0.1% chance involved pollen because Gomora got a whiff of the pollen and sneezed, and he woke up. And he's very angry about there being pollen in the air. So now he's attacking the city. I do appreciate how much Hibikura just is watching this and is just baffled of like, you're telling me the 0.1% chance this thing could have woke up was it fucking smelling pollen and sneezing? Why? Why is this my life? Why am I in charge of this? I want to stop being in charge. But now Haruki and Scavenger has to fight Gomora. Unfortunately, Scavenger quickly gets taken down, but he does put in a good effort. And then Yoko, being a badass, stands on top of the building where the meeting is that Gomora is going to track and just shoots Gomora in the eyes with her rifle. With whatever special bullets they have, I guess. Kudos to her for like going, well, down to me, I guess. Just gonna shoot him. But at this point, Haruki said, drop in. They fight Gomora, but they're at a strength disadvantage until they spot the metal Yoko has and are like, metal, please, metal, help. And at this point, I want to bring up the difference that the sub and dub have in terms of what the dub did. Because did you happen to notice it at all?
I didn't watch both. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I meant like from the first 2 episodes you saw and then these 2 episodes.
I had a day in between.
Okay.
So I may or may not have.
So, you know all those like grunts and like blah sounds that Zed makes whenever he's attacking and stuff?
Uh-huh.
Those are not dubbed. Those are still voiced by the Japanese voice actor in the English dub.
Huh.
Which, to be fair, is not noticeable here because they clearly make a distinction of Zed's noises when he's fighting and Zed when he's normally talking. It gets noticeable if you pay attention to Zero in the first episode because you'll notice that it's 2 different voices. And it will also be noticeable in 2 weeks, just to put it out there. But yeah, it's something my ear catches because I can hear the difference because I will recognize the Japanese voice actor and know it is clearly different than the English voice actor. But again, it's one of those, like, it doesn't really matter because anyone who's watching this that isn't watching the sub in general will never notice. Probably. So it's kind of irrelevant. It's just one of those weird things. I'm like, why did they not dub these? But yeah, they more or less mime and stuff for Zed to pass Yoko the medal because I don't know why Zed can't talk to anyone while he's transformed when they're not human. Or when it's humans, but I guess they have to do it this way.
Apparently.
But they get the medal, and now they become Beta Smash. And I am also sad that the dub doesn't keep the fact that the original Ultraman doesn't have a name. He's just Ultraman. So when Haruki's announcing the medals, he's like, Brother Ultraman, Brother Taro, Brother, I forget the third one. In Japanese, he says Mon-ni-san. I'm sad that that's not preserved in the dub in some fashion. Because it's just funny to be like, right, original Ultraman doesn't have another name. He's just Ultraman. Which makes it weird when you're like, everyone else goes by Ultraman and then their name. But yeah, we get Beta Smash. It's the wrestling form, and it does all the wrestling things that make me happy because I am a wrestling fan. Therefore, I see all the wrestling references they do. So, yay. They literally have a sign that is someone with a hammer falling down and dinging off of Avenger to ring a literal bell to start round 2 of the fight, which is glorious. Thank you. I appreciate that. But Beta Smash is more than enough. It takes out Gomora. And as a bonus, because hooray, we did good job. We got funding for the second robot. Yay. Which moves us to episode 4, Robot 2 Activation Plan. So they're working on Wyndham, which is the second robot. It is a chicken robot because it just is. Don't ask me why it's chicken. But it can fly like Zed, and it can be active for 5 minutes. Unfortunately, it takes like 4 days for them to charge it, so kind of have to figure out that plan. Yuka's annoyed by this because she's like, that was not the parts I designed for this. Why didn't they use those parts? Meh, 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 meh. So essentially her and Kojiro are trying to figure out a plan for it. Unfortunately, Tesladon has awakened because a underground city was being made and it was nearby, and then now it's awake and it's mad and now it's rampaging. They do arrive, Storage arrives in time to see it like run off after an attack, which takes us to Yuka and Kojiro one night trying to figure out what to do. And I don't know what Kojiro's making, but my only thought went directly to, those are baked potatoes, aren't they? Except I'm sure they're not. I'm sure there's something else entirely. Because they're cooked like baked potatoes and they crack open like baked potatoes. Except they're probably not potatoes. They're probably something else. But we also check in with Kaburaki for the first time in like 3 episodes since, you know, we ended episode 1 on him of, oh, he went and made a Gomez kaiju medal for use later. The next day, because of Haruki's misplaced pudding in the fridge where monster parts are also kept, which that's an OSHA violation. I'm sure that's an OSHA violation. I'm sure you're not allowed to keep food next to monster materials, even if they are wrapped in tinfoil.
Yeah, it's fine.
There has to be another fridge for food in their office that isn't the one where Yuka keeps all of her bits of monsters. But because of this, Yuka figures out, the Hornet has storage of electricity. We'll just use it. So while Avenger goes to deal with the monster that showed up, they charge Wyndham with the horn, and yes, Yuka has a bit of mad science vibes in this scene of her just glasses on, just stabbing 2 prongs in this horn with some sort of protective gear that I'm guessing is supposed to prevent her from being electrocuted in this process. But Haruki goes down, or Avenger goes down, so Haruki and Zed have to step in. They're fighting the monster until Wyndham arrives to help out. And then a kaiju medal gets thrown in it, and oh no. That's a bad thing until the 2 of them beat it. So hooray. But then Haruki gets the kaiju medal off the monster. And Zed's like, that's not normal. That's not a thing. Somebody made that. Nobody on this planet should be able to make that. That's going to be a problem. And then we check in with Hebikura, who's very upset at his... I don't know what it is, but it is a Rubik's Cube, but all of the squares are different shapes. Which... Is that supposed to make a Rubik's Cube harder?
I honestly don't know.
I'm very confused by his oddly shaped Rubik's Cube.
Same.
Because I don't think that's how Rubik's Cube... that makes it any harder. I think he just got one like that just because. But he's feeling a bit frustrated and stuff, and he wants to play looking at an image of Zed. And that's going to play into things next week. Don't worry about that one. Well, in 2 weeks, mind you.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that. We'll talk about that in 2 weeks because there's a conversation to be had about Hibikura. But that is it. How you feel about the full 4?
I feel like I probably can get behind this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because it almost feels more akin to like Sentai than Rider, even though, you know, we've only got truthfully one person kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that odd. I'm not too sure how to feel about it at the moment.
Fair. I think the reason for the vibes is that yes, we have a solo hero, but we also have a more or less a military force that is helping the Ultra sometimes, or at the very least trying to help. So there still is that team aspect, even though, again, it's still a solo hero show like Rider.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm
it's just one of those. It's kind of it's not bad. It's just an odd thing for me to get my head wrapped around.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think Zed really hits its stride once we're into next week's episodes, because I feel like some of its strongest episodes are after this kind of like, not necessarily stumbling introduction, but like, we got to get everything in place. We got to do this. We got to do that. Here's all the introduction stuff. All right, we did all the introduction stuff. Now we can do other stuff. We can start doing fun stuff. But we got to get there first, and it took, you know, a couple episodes to get there.
Yeah.
I'm at least enjoying my rewatch of Zed. It's been since the show originally aired that I've rewatched it. I have like rewatched like parts of episodes, just because there's some parts of the episodes I've really enjoyed. One of them is next week. One of, like I said,
I did
we'll
not
have
tell you to do that. Is it because
no.
Is it because I'm adding stuff? Is that actually what just happened there?
Oh no, what happened?
It just redid the post. We're fixing this. Because if it does it again, then I know that's why. Uh-huh. So now you want to actually do this. Now you want to cooperate with the thing that... Yeah, I'm going to quit touching bot.
The bot's getting unruly. The bot doesn't...
So the good news is, I think I'm set up on it.
Hooray! But yeah, in 2 weeks we
actually have them on right before we end, just to push and see. Yep, actually, before we end.
Alright.
Because I just want to see. Okay. That button. Okay.
Hey, it went.
And I got all the log stuff. Hee hee. Okay. So there we go. Now we got that part of it done.
Yay. So yeah. Like I said, in 2 weeks we will have a lot to talk about with Ultraman said, because a lot of things happen in the next 4 episodes that are worth talking about. Oh boy. But next week it'll be TGS. We'll be talking about the video game stuff of whatever came out. Hooray. But between now and then, tomorrow it is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 32 tracks, me doing the regular and you doing the DLC to some extent.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna see if I can't get it booted up and just take a quick peek at it, because I'm almost positive that I should be able to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I've got to double. Also, I guess I'll do that later, because I don't know where my card is. My game card is at the moment for that one.
I forgot that my copy is digital today. Because I was trying to put it in and I looked at the case that all my Switch games were in. I was like, wait, where is? Right, this one's digital. Duh. But that'll be tomorrow. Next Thursday, we continue Infinite Fusion Randomizer. And next Friday, double check the schedule real quick. Will be the Splatfest.
I was gonna say you'll have to, because I'm actually drawing a blank.
Yeah, it is the flavor Splatfest of, what is it? Chocolate, strawberry, and mint?
I believe so.
No, vanilla, strawberry, and mint. Right.
Yeah.
There is no chocolate. I assume because chocolate would probably get all the votes.
Probably.
And like I said, next Saturday will be us talking shop on video games. So if you like what you're seeing, folks, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away that affiliate go at TGS Network on Mastodon.social. We'll give you updates when we go live. The Twitter is active until Twitter dies. So that is at TG Soon on Twitter. And then exclamation point Discord in chat. We'll give you the Discord link. Drop by, say hi, and we'll see you tomorrow, folks.